I'm Dr. Orion Taraban, and this is Psychacks, Better Living Through Psychology. And the topic of today's short talk is, what is the critical inner voice? The critical inner voice is a very important psychological concept. I think we all have it to some degree or another. However, it can be sadistically cruel in the case of certain people. Now, the critical inner voice isn't a hallucination. People don't experience the voice as coming from outside of their own heads. Rather, it's a malevolent form of self-talk that can, in its extreme forms, be incessantly berating and abusive. For instance, it's the thought that judges you very harshly when you make a mistake, or that overgeneralizes global personality flaws from local failures and rejections. It's very, very difficult to enjoy any kind of quality of life when the critical inner voice is active and energetic. So, where does it come from? A lot of researchers believe that the critical inner voice is an introject of the parent's perceived negative attitudes towards the child. These negative attitudes may have been explicit in the form of physical or emotional abuse, but in most cases, these negative attitudes were implicit in the form of a look, a gesture, a tone of voice, a withdrawal of affection, etc. And the child unconsciously internalizes these attitudes as a critical inner voice. It does so because, despite the cruelty of this voice, it's preferable for the child to consider itself loathsome than it is to believe its parents are hateful, given its dependence on them. So, what do we do about it? The first step to addressing the critical inner voice is to begin to appreciate that this voice isn't really you. It's an introject. An introject is like a thought or a belief that doesn't really belong to you, but is nevertheless inside your head. It's similar to how a hamburger isn't actually a part of your body, even though it's inside your stomach. You wouldn't think, I ate a hamburger and now that hamburger is me, but people think all the time, I had a thought, so it must belong to me. The first step to addressing the critical inner voice is to make this voice ego alien, which means to identify this voice as other, as not me. If you can do that, that's already a big first step in the direction of resolving the problem. I'll talk about next steps in future episodes. For today, let's content ourselves with an introduction to the critical inner voice, its origins, and the first step toward its undoing. What do you think? Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for the algorithm. And if you'd like to schedule a consultation, you can reach me at psychackspodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.